Creating free content online helped me build a 7-figure business and change a lot of people's lives along the way. So I stand by the claim that creating and sharing free content is one of the best ways to grow your impact and help more people. Not only that, but it will also probably change your life in ways you can't imagine before you get started on this content creation journey. So that's why in this video, I'm going to share with you everything I've learned about how to create great content and use that to grow your content business. When I first realized what I'm about to tell you, it felt like unlocking some kind of superpower. So I hope you're ready. The more value that you can provide for free, the more money you're going to make. And I know that can seem counterintuitive, right? Like when I first started creating content, it felt more like a volunteer effort. Like I was spending my free time creating this content to help make a difference in people's lives. And in exchange, I'm getting a deeper sense of purpose knowing I'm making a difference in the world. That's how I first approached it. But in the months and years that followed, it changed my life financially in ways I couldn't have imagined. So the main idea is you're going to create a ton of value out there in the world with the free content, and then with your paid digital courses or products, you're going to capture a small portion of that overall value you created. So that's an underlying principle here. I love that about this approach. That's why I'm so passionate about content creation. It has a lot of really nice advantages. Perhaps the biggest one is that it feels really good helping people. That's why it feels like a superpower, because it's like, wait, you're telling me I can grow my business by helping people and trying to change people's lives for free? Like, that feels amazing. If that doesn't feel good as a marketing strategy, I don't know what does. So it's very rewarding. And then the flip side to that, the financial impact of that, is that it brings clients to you at scale. As you're helping people and reaching a lot of people and helping them solve their problems, they're going to get to know you. Some of them will like you. Like generally people want to work with people they like. Some people won't, and we'll get into that. Not everyone's going to like you, and they're probably going to trust you if you're helping them solve their problems. So if you have paid courses that can help people solve their problems even more effectively and efficiently, a portion of those people are going to want to enroll in any paid products you may offer. So very effective way to grow a business. And I love this metaphor too. Just bear with me for these metaphors. Like, again, I get excited about this stuff. I first heard about this planting versus hunting metaphor in a talk with Chris Do. And the idea is, instead of like going out and hunting for your next client, where you're like in people's direct messages and sending people cold emails and like stressing out about where you're going to get your next client from, because let's be real, that is stressful if you're like not sure where your next client's coming from. Instead, you're planting all of these different seeds. And those seeds are your pieces of content. So maybe videos, maybe blog articles. You're planting a bunch of seeds. They take longer to come into fruition, but they're going to bear fruit for many years to come. And once you build up like a garden, so to speak, again, it's bringing people to you at scale. You're not having to go out and like hunt for an income. And yeah, I first heard about that metaphor from Chris Do. I don't know if he heard it from somewhere else, but I love that metaphor. It's stuck with me ever since. It's definitely like the essence of this content marketing approach. It also doesn't cost you any money to get started. So when some people get started with like a course selling business, for example, they're investing like thousands or tens of thousands or more dollars on ads, on paid ads to like reach their intended audience and stuff. You don't have to pay anything to use this approach. Maybe you might need to buy a camera or, a nice computer or something like that, but you can get started with this with a phone that has a video camera. So very cheap to start up. All it does take is time. It is a little bit slower to get started up, but again, slow efforts in the beginning will lead to very big results down the line. And that's the best part about this too. It produces results for years to come. So pieces of content you create today will still be benefiting you. It will still be helping people, and it will still be helping your business for potentially 2, 5, 10 years to come. So we'll get into how to create content like that. So the first step before actually diving into the content creation is to know who it is that you're serving. So you will want to identify your audience. You got to know who you're trying to help. So check out the last video if you haven't seen it already. That one is all about how to identify your audience, to figure out who you're going to serve specifically. So check it out. We're not going to dive into that here. You should already see that video, because again, this is part of an entire playlist on how to build a successful course selling business. And this is the best part, creating the free content. Okay. So before you start creating content, you're probably going to want to choose a platform that you can commit to. And there are a few considerations here. So I've separated it out into like evergreen platforms and growth platforms. Evergreen platforms, I think, are search driven. It's where people in your intended audience will go. They'll type in the problem that they're having in the search bar, and then they're going to find some, hopefully they'll find some solutions to the query they searched for. That's what I view as evergreen, because those are the types of content that will produce results for you for years to come. You're going to be directly answering your viewers' problems. And then growth platforms I view as like more viral. These are like more traditional, like social media type platforms. There's of course some overlap between the two. Like for example, on TikTok, most people are going through the feed, but people are starting to search their problems in the TikTok search bar, for example. So there is overlap. Same thing on YouTube. You'll go on YouTube and search for a specific problem, but then you'll find stuff that you're more interested in the sidebar. So this isn't like a hard divide, but it's a good framework to think about these things. So again, on evergreen platforms, your content will be found for many years to come. Google and YouTube are the #1 and #2 search engines in the world right now. So I think those are pretty good platforms to focus on, and I'll get even more specific with you there. But I think podcasting could be like another kind of evergreen platform. I've never gotten too deep into podcasting, so I'm not super expert on that. But I imagine that will help people for years to come as well. So the idea with the search approach is to create search-driven content that will produce results for you far into the future. That's why I call it evergreen. It's going to bring people to you year-round, rain or shine, for potentially decade or longer into the future. Growth platforms, again, these are the typical social media platforms like LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram. It's easier to reach a wider audience, but the lifespan of your content is more limited. Maybe it will be visible on people's feeds for a couple of hours, maybe a couple of weeks tops, but after that, it kind of drops off. Like think about it, when you post something on Instagram, you're probably not seeing posts in your Instagram feed that were from a year ago. So the lifespan of that content is way shorter. There are some benefits, like for example, well, let's just get back into this. So to set yourself up for long-term success, as you can imagine, establishing yourself on an evergreen platform is a good idea. You're not going to have to be like working. So it's not going to feel so busy like the work you're doing, because you're going to know, yeah, even if I don't do anything for this month, leads are still coming in. My content is still helping people because it's still getting found via search. Now, growth platforms, they can drive people to your evergreen platforms. So once I built up like a big library of all these like longer form videos on YouTube, for example, and like I have all these in-depth tutorials and stuff on my website, that's when it makes more sense to be using stuff like LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram to like reach more people. And then a portion of those people will trickle onto the evergreen platforms and spend more time with you on like YouTube or your website, for example. So that's how I view it. Like growth platforms are like at the very top, and then a portion of the people you reach on those platforms will spend more time with you on the more evergreen type of platforms. Let me know if you have any questions about this in the comments. Here's my take. YouTube is hands down the best platform if you're trying to build a course selling business, especially like a video-based course selling business. And the reason for that is because it's a lot easier for you to build a relationship with people when they can see your face and hear your voice. So like I started out blogging, like I was terrified of the idea of like talking to a camera like this and putting it on YouTube. So, and I was a writer, like I studied English literature before getting into the field where I was creating my content. So I would write blog posts. I got quite efficient at it. I like learned how to answer people's queries. So it was like bringing a decent amount of traffic to me. But I realized this fact I just shared with you. I'm like, it would be a lot easier for people to actually connect with me if they could like see me and hear me. And I want to get comfortable doing the whole video thing. Like I'm going to force myself to. And as soon as I did, like after like a month or two, the amount of people reaching out to me saying, "Hey, I like your YouTube videos," was already higher than like the people reaching out to me from the thousands of like web hits I was getting on my website. So I noticed very early on, there were very clear signs that people were responding better, feeling more connected to me via YouTube than via my blog. And then another benefit, YouTube recommends your content to people. So on Google, if you're looking for like an article, you're going to go to someone's website and you're just on their website. And YouTube, if someone's watching a related video, they might see your video in the sidebar. There's not an equivalent thing like that for websites other than like a Google search. So I hope that makes sense. But yeah, like YouTube, it kind of doubles as a growth platform, because if you have a video that people are receiving well, YouTube's going to push that out to more people who might like it. So it really does help you grow in a way that blogging alone does not. And this, again, is perhaps the biggest reason if you're building a course selling business. People who buy online video-based courses generally go to YouTube to learn new things. And it makes sense, right? People who are already learning from videos, they're going to be the most likely people to buy video-based courses so they can learn, more deeply from videos. So I've heard this from many other course creators. I've experienced this myself. But yeah, if you have 1,000 people who are watching you on YouTube and 1,000 people on any other platform, the amount of people who are watching you on YouTube are going to be way more likely to purchase digital courses than any other platform. Again, it makes sense. Maybe it's pretty intuitive and self-explanatory why that's the case, but you also might be feeling kind of intimidated right now, because you're like, I am not doing this whole YouTube thing. Like, I cannot talk to a camera and record myself. And again, I felt the same way. Like, it was pretty rough in the beginning. You can go back and see with the first videos on my channel and see how awkward and painful it was for me. And that's after like 400 takes of a 40-second video to even get to that point. So it's rough. I'm going to share a few tips with you here. I could do a whole video on this if you want, but just in case you are feeling kind of intimidated by that idea, I'm going to share some tips. And again, you don't have to start on YouTube. It's just like, if you are open to that idea of being comfortable talking on camera on YouTube, it's probably going to pay off for you very nicely. It's a very good investment to make in yourself. So it is very hard at first. Something that helped me is imagining that I'm talking to a single person in my audience. That really helps get the tone down, because it's tough balancing between like feeling like you're like really formal, like presenter on one hand, and on the other hand, trying to be like an entertainer who's like keeping people engaged. What you're trying to go for is like being yourself. That's what you're aiming at. So if you are, if people are watching your YouTube videos and they hop on a call with you and you seem like a different person, that is not the effect we want. And then not only that, but people can tell when you're not being genuine, or when you're kind of like forcing a persona for the camera. So we don't want that effect either. The more authentic and yourself you can be, the better it's going to be received on these kind of platforms. And I found a good way to do that is to imagine you're having a conversation with one person, instead of like doing a public service announcement to everyone, because that can feel intimidating. Again, act natural. Don't act overly excited or overly robotic. Those are like the two spectrums I was like bouncing between when I was first starting to figure out how to do this. It's okay to say and but and like stutter. Like, that would drive me kind of crazy when I first started recording, because I'm like, I'm wasting people's time. I sound so like unprofessional, but it actually just makes you sound natural, and people will pick up on that, and it makes you more human. So don't feel like you have to do 50 takes to be like exactly on script without a single hiccup. That's going to make your life way harder and probably make it not as good of a watching experience for your audience. And then it's just a matter of putting in the reps, practicing, and publishing before you're actually comfortable with the final result. It is so painful. Trust me. I know you feel so exposed. Like, I know the feeling so well, but you got to start putting stuff out there. And what I will say, what makes this all better is when you do start getting those messages of people talking about how you're helping them. Like, the anxiety and like the self-consciousness like melted away from me once people started saying, hey, I figured this thing out that I couldn't figure out without your video. Like, thank you so much. That for me, then I was like, okay, I know who I'm creating these videos for. I know who I'm creating this content for. Like, I need to just get over myself with like feeling insecure about it. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that wasn't too off topic for most of you, but let's get into some different stuff now. So coming up with ideas for your content. That can be intimidating at first too. Where I started and where I would suggest that you start is to mine your own experience. Odds are, if you watch the last video, you're serving an identity that kind of aligns with an identity you've had. So for example, like, I was trying to become an instructional designer myself, like coming out of college. I figured out how to do that and became an instructional designer. And then I started creating content to help other people become instructional designers and learn the skills that instructional designers need to learn. So my first pieces of content were just things that I had struggled with along the way, like some kind of technical issue that took me like hours to figure out. I'm like, why is this so complicated? Let me just write a guide for people and hopefully save them a few hours so they don't have to go through that struggle I went through. yeah, so that's kind of where I focused in the beginning. It was like tough technical things that were really hard to piece together from like disparate resources. I'm like, let me just solve this problem for my earlier self, essentially, because I know other people are having this problem as well. So that was a really good source of content for me. And some of those pieces of content are my best performing pieces of content to date. So think about that for yourself. Like, what problems did you have where you tried looking it up on YouTube or tried looking it up on Google to get a solution and there wasn't anything good and you just kind of had to figure it out and struggle your way through? That's great source of content idea. There are also tools to help you with that, and I'm going to go through a few of them with you here. We'll look at them briefly. I could record a whole video on this, but again, let's just take a look at them together. So the first one is kind of simple. You just literally use Google, or you could do the same thing on YouTube. But let me just show you, like if I type in instructional design on this fresh Google browser, it's going to show me like all of these common things that people search for. And again, you want to solve these common problems. You want to reach more people. So you can see, what are people searching for who are in my audience? And another cool tool here, I learned this from a channel called The Income School. They create a lot of really helpful like SEO and keyword research content, is you can actually use these like asterisks, how to articulate storyline. This is a popular tool that instructional designers use. So if you use like that asterisk, Google will kind of fill in the common search results for that asterisk. So like how to use articulate storyline, how to share articulate storyline files. These will all be great YouTube video titles, great blog article ideas, maybe even good like short form content. But again, we're trying to lean more towards something that's evergreen. So you can use those strategies here. Once you do the search too, like let's look at how to use articulate storyline. If we scroll down all the way to the bottom or somewhere towards the bottom, we'll see all these like related searches as well. So if Google is showing you these things, it's because they're common searches. So if you can create content to solve these type of queries, that is going to be well received. And you know that there's some sort of audience for it. If you want to get more specific, you could use one of Google's tools called the Keyword Planner. And you could type in a keyword or multiple keywords. Like I could also look up like articulate storyline. I could look up that tool and then you press get results and it will give you more detail about these different search terms. It will give you an idea of the average number of monthly searches, and it will kind of give you all these relevant keywords that you might want to create content surrounding. So this is called Google Keyword Planner. It's completely free. Here's another one. I think this was like recently acquired by Neil Patel, but it's called Answer the Public. And you just enter a topic and it gives you so much data around what people might be searching for. So once again, I just put in instructional design and you probably can't see this, but it separates it by these different like question words. So like what? And it's like, what are instructional design principles? What is instructional design theory? Like so on and so forth. How to storyboard instructional design. So these are all these are all questions that people are asking. And again, great content. You're basically solving people's problems. So if you can create the piece of content that answers the person's question, you're going to be in great shape. So this is a great source of ideas. It looks like it's even more comprehensive now. Like these aren't just questions, but just like keyword ideas. And at the very bottom, it just, again, has all of these different types of articles or videos you could create to help people learn more about these different things that they're searching for. So check that one out. That's called Answer the Public. And then the most recent one, which is like really cool, is ChatGPT. So this uses AI. It's basically like your virtual assistant. I haven't been using it. I mean, this wasn't a thing like when I started creating content, but it's definitely becoming more of a thing now. And you can use this to help you plan YouTube videos from the very beginning. It seems like the information isn't like 100% accurate. So like you definitely want to have some expertise in the topic you're asking for ideas around. But check out this prompt I said to this AI. I said, act as a YouTube coach and content creator. List 10 YouTube video titles that would be helpful for people who are new to instructional design. They would like to build their skills so that they can be more effective on the job and find more success getting job offers. So I'm basically giving the AI some details about my audience right here, and I'm telling the AI what I want it to act as. So YouTube coach and content creator. And then sure enough, the AI gives me 10 ideas, and some of these are pretty good. I have a feeling the audience would receive these very well. And then if you want more details, like for example, the second video, 5 steps to becoming an effective instructional designer, I can just like have a conversation with the AI and say, give me an outline of what I should cover in the second video. And then sure enough, here's a suggested outline, an intro, each of these 5 steps. You could pause if you want to read these, like they're pretty good. That's not exactly the steps I would give, but this is a very good like brainstorming tool that you can use in the same way that you use these other tools just to come up with ideas. Like don't just copy and paste this. It's probably not going to be a great video. It might not be fully accurate, but it's a great ideation tool. So we're going to dive back into the PowerPoint now, but there are a lot of tools like that. You could look up like content marketing tools or content research tools, like that sort of thing. You basically just want to find the common problems and search terms that like people are struggling with. And then you want to try to create content to help solve those problems. And of course, you're going to run into situations where there are already pieces of content that answer those queries. So that's another strategy you could use. You could look at what is already ranking well, and you could try to create a more valuable piece of content. And that's a big part of this game. It's like, you're going to want to look at what else is out there and say, how can I make something even better that's going to help people more effectively? And then by extension, will kind of rise to the top of the search results and get recommended to more people. So how do you actually create something that's more valuable, right? That's like easy to say, oh yeah, just make it more valuable. But what does that actually look like? I'm going to give you a few ideas here. So you can make it something with better production value. And generally people notice when you spend more time on something. Like I'm basically talking over a PowerPoint here and sharing my screen, so the production value isn't like super high. So that might be a good way for someone to compete with me to create, you know, more flashy experience. I don't know. Again, this isn't a strategy I really use, but it is something that people can use, and I'm sure people would receive it well. You could help people achieve the same outcome in less time. That's the way to add value. If you can help me get from where I am to where I'm trying to be in half the time as any of the other resources out there, that's valuable to me, because you just gave me back half that time to do something else with my life. So shorter content with the same outcome, valuable. Including more relevant info and examples, that can be valuable. If it all comes back to the kind of query. If someone like wants to like change the tire on their car, they probably just want to get it done ASAP. If someone's trying to like become an instructional designer, for example, and like some kind of stories and anecdotes might help give them the context they need to do better on the job, that type of content might do better if it's a bit longer and includes more information and more examples. So that's the main idea here, is like you want to answer the query the person has. Like, what do they want out of that piece of content? The better you can deliver on that, the better that the search engines are going to reward you, essentially, because their job is just to match the people with what they're looking for. If you can deliver that, you're going to get some eyes on your content. Another option is to make it more entertaining. So if watching one video feels more like work and the other one like I'm entertained every step of the way but still learning the same thing, I'm going to go with the person that's more entertaining. Less fluff, that's another option. Like, you know, if you're someone starting their videos and like talking about like some random stuff that's going on in their lives or something, some people might not be interested in that. They just want to get right to the point, which I guess goes hand in hand with same outcome and less time. If you can speak better to your audience's concerns, it's going to be more valuable to them. So by this, I mean, like, if you can empathize better with your audience than the other content out there, it's probably going to do better because your audience is going to feel more heard. By extension, they're going to trust your perspective more than someone that doesn't make them feel as heard or understood. So empathy, good idea to include that kind of stuff in your videos. This is the most important one. Like, so many people struggle with this when it comes to content creation. If your content is more you, like more on brand to who you are, it's going to be more valuable to some people. And bear with me, I'm going to show you like this quote. I love this quote. Your vibe attracts your tribe. Please never forget this. I first heard this, I think, from Sean Cannell, great YouTube channel about how to like create YouTube content called Think Media. I don't know if he got it from somewhere else, but again, your vibe attracts your tribe. So there's some people who probably put on the first, like a video that they saw from me. They watched a minute of it and they're like, I can't listen to this person. Like, this is not my vibe. I'm out of here. Like, I don't want to learn from this person. I'm going to find someone else. And no matter how short my content is and like to the point or like high production value, like some people, it's just not the right vibe, they're going to go find someone else who they can connect with more easily. And that's okay. Not everybody is going to find one person's content more valuable than another person's content. And why this is important is because what I've heard a lot from people who want to get started with like course selling and content creation is they're like, oh, it's all already covered. Like people are already creating content on that topic. Like they've got it covered. I don't have like anything new to add. The new thing to add is your unique perspective, because again, some people will resonate more hearing maybe even the same exact thing from you than they would from somebody else. And I can't understate that. Like being yourself and letting your personality shine through in your videos is going to make it easier for people to connect with you. It might make it easier for some other people to disconnect from you, but again, that is completely okay. They will find their tribe. You just want to attract your tribe. And the best part about that is then the people commenting on your videos and like going into your DMs and everything, like most people that you're talking to like feel like they could be your friends because they vibe with you, they connect with you. So like it generally goes the other direction as well. So that's the best part about this. It's a great way to like build a community of like-minded people. And just accept pretty early on that not everyone is going to be a part of that community and that there's nothing wrong with that. And again, please don't feel too intimidated to get started because you're like, oh, the spaces are already covered. That is not the case. Your vibe is different than every other person's vibe in the world, and that is going to be valuable to some people. So I can't understate this one. Screenshot this, print it out, hang it on your wall, but this has helped me through a lot of decision making, and it just gives me a lot of peace of mind. All right, the algorithm. SEO. Okay, this is a big topic, and we're not going to dive like super deep into it here, but this can be intimidating for some people. It's how platforms decide which content to show people. And obviously your content could live or die by how valuable the algorithm thinks it is. Now, these algorithms have come a very long way. I think like early days, like before I was doing anything like this, but in early days of like SEO, if you just put enough keywords in your content, it was going to get to the top of the search results. It has come very, very far since then. And again, the main idea is these algorithms are designed to match people with the content that's going to best solve their search query, or to keep them on the platform essentially. That's algorithms are complex, but some of these basic principles apply. So this is a good way to think about it. Platforms reward people who can keep viewers on the platform. And it makes sense, right? Like YouTube makes money from ad revenue. If they see that channel A can keep people on the platform for 20 minutes and channel B can keep people on the platform for 5 minutes, they're going to reward the person who can keep them on the platform for 20 minutes because that means YouTube makes more money because they get more eyes on ads. So that has like some practical, implications. Like, when you're watching this video, I might say, okay, yeah, check out this other video that you might find valuable as well. And it's also why a lot of people, use early engagement strategies to like keep people watching so they don't like drop off after the first minute. There are so many different like nitty gritty strategies, but knowing these principles will probably help you make some of your own decisions around this kind of stuff. So keeping people on the platform is a good thing. Same thing with Google. If someone is on the Google search results and they click onto your article, if Google sees that they immediately just leave that article, they're going to know, yeah, that person couldn't keep them on the site for very long. Like, especially if after they go back into the search results, they click on a different article, that sends a message to Google. They didn't get what they needed from the first article. They had to go somewhere else. So we're going to reward that place that eventually did answer their question. Again, it can get pretty detailed. Like, I'll record a whole video on this stuff if you want, but if you can keep people on your channel or on your website, you are going to be in good shape from an algorithm perspective. Also, the algorithms want to recommend people who are like safe to recommend. They want to recommend people who have authority, who know what they're talking about, right? They want to recommend high value content. They don't want to be spreading like misinformation, so to speak. And one of the ways that they determine if someone knows what they're talking about is how many other people are linking back to that content or referring to that content. And then as like another level of that, it's like, how credible are those people? Like, if a university links to one of my articles, it's going to have way more like impact on where I show up in the search results than if like a new blogger who just started links to one of my articles. Again, we can get way more in depth. These are just some basics. You want authoritative content that a lot of people link to, which just happens over time. And you want to keep them on your platform so that the algorithms don't see, oh yeah, someone's just coming here and immediately leaving. Like we don't want to keep recommending that because people aren't having a great experience. So again, the last piece about this is you want to build cohesive expertise. I don't know if that's the best way to say this, but like, for example, I create a lot of instructional design content. If I create a new instructional design article, Google, for example, already knows I have expertise in instructional design. A lot of people link to my instructional design articles. So it's going to be way easier for that article to rank for me than not only if like someone else did that, but also if I were to create an article like best, like something random, like best laundry detergents for like washing your laundry. I have zero expertise in Google's eyes on like household cleaning products. So it's gonna be way harder for me to get that article to rank. So I guess what I'm saying there is like, you're gonna wanna build your content and expertise around a specific topic or theme, which should just happen naturally as an extension of like the audience you're serving. But those things do go into the algorithms too. Like YouTube will be way more likely to recommend an instructional design video of mine to you than it would be if I were to create like some completely random video that isn't related to instructional design. I hope that makes sense. And it makes sense too, right? Like if you're listening to like an instructional design professor, you might trust their opinion on instructional design more than you would on like, I don't know, skincare, for example. They try to mirror how people lend credibility and expertise in the real world. At the end of the day, if you're helping people solve their problems that they're searching for to get solved, you're going to be doing well on these different platforms and the algorithm will reward you. That's what it's all about. If you do much research on this, it's all just like, if you're creating valuable content, you don't need to worry so much about all the like, technical pieces of SEO. And that's true. It helps to have these main ideas of how these principles work because that can inform some of your strategy. But if you're solving people's problems, you are going to get eyes on your content. Consistency is key. Can't understate this. This also is like an SEO consideration. If they see that you posted 3 videos and then kind of disappeared for 3 months and then come back and post more, it's gonna treat you way differently than if you were posting 1 video a month or 1 video a week or something more consistent like that. It shows that you're keeping your channel or your website fresh and that you have new stuff for people. So choose something you can commit to. Again, I would say once a month at minimum. Once a week is ideal and average. That's what I had commit to for quite a while. And that's enough to have a very big impact on your life. Something else I can't really understate, it's not exactly like content creation, but engage with your tribe, like your audience, your community members, whatever you want to call it. Like your engagement is key and can help a lot. So respond to comments, respond to emails, respond to direct messages, try to get to know people in your audience. Like ask questions, start conversations when you can. Don't just be like, oh, thanks. Like try to get to know people and show genuine interest in like where they're coming from and what they're trying to accomplish. This won't just give you like really good ideas for like content, but I mean, it helps so many different things, right? Like if those people have a personal connection with you, they're probably going to trust you even more. They're going to be more likely to work with you in the future if you have paid products. Again, great data and information for you. And it's just another way to like help people. If you're solving people's problems for free in DMs or in comments or answering questions, they're going to be way more likely, possibly some of them, to like spread the word or like share your resources with other people. You're essentially like building fans, mutually beneficial relationships where you both help out each other. So like there was a time like up until this year, or well, it's 2023 now. So up until most of 2022, I was responding to like every single YouTube comment, every single message on LinkedIn, emails, like every platform. I was responding to every single thing, and it was a lot of work. I kept it up to like around 25K subscribers, I think, until it just got to the point where it's like physically impossible to keep up with it all. But I have to imagine that had a huge impact on like the growth and trajectory of like my business and my content. So, and it's super rewarding stuff too, talking to the people who you're like helping. So can't understate this one enough either. Like if you have under 10K subs or something, like find the time to talk to your people. Definitely. Don't think like, oh, I'm on YouTube. Like, I don't respond to the comments. Like, please respond to the comments. It has a huge impact. And then you're essentially building your community, right? Like if you have opportunities to connect people to other people that you've met, of course, take them. You're just trying to spread around all the goodwill and build that community up. The next step, which leads into next week's video, is gathering leads. So this is essentially an email list of your most engaged community members. This is where you're going to go to like collect information and eventually sell any products you may have. So we're going to dive into that in next week's video. It's going to be all about how to grow your mailing list and generate leads. So subscribe for that. And again, this is part 3 and like a 10+ part playlist on how to create great content and build a good course selling business. So thanks for making it to the end of this video. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next one.